Skip it up and that up. Star Fox Zero is coming in late April, and people are very excited about it. I'm being one of them. Star Fox is a great series. We haven't had a true installment of it in a very long time. And on top of it, not only is this game being developed by Nintendo, it's being co-developed by Platinum Games. Those are the guys behind Bayonetta. They don't know how to do anything wrong. I have never personally played a bad Platinum Games game. But there is a shitstorm brewing on the internet about Star Fox Zero because, well, the internet. And this is due to the fact that the game will have an invincibility mode, meaning you could play the entire game and not die. No consequence. You could just go right through it, take tons of bullets, and nothing will happen to you. And people aren't very happy about it, but Shigeru Miyamoto explained why the mode exists, and this is what he had to say. One thing that I think is a misunderstanding is that I'm not very supportive of simply making a game easy so that people who don't play games can play the game themselves. Obviously, part of the fun of taking on a challenge is that the challenge has to be a hurdle that you overcome. Simply lowering the hurdle doesn't necessarily mean that the challenge will be fun. What's fun is mastering the skill and having that sense of accomplishment of achieving something that's difficult. Action games like this have to have a certain level of difficulty to achieve that satisfaction. And particularly with Star Fox Zero, if you try to complete this game, I think you're going to find it quite challenging. But it's because of that we have things like Star Fox Guard, which I guess that's the invincibility mode, and the cooperative mode in the game. Now, Eurogamer did take two comments from Nintendo Life, one being negative about Star Fox's invincibility mode and one being positive. I'll read the negative one to you first, and this is what this person had to say. I don't know why games should be made that autoplay themselves. What's the point? Are people really that incapable of any sort of difficulty? So what if the player struggles? It's the only way they'll get good. Now, on the flip side of that, another woman, I'm assuming a woman from the name, her name is PokeFanMum, MUM82, wrote on Nintendo Life, I like this mode. My son is one of those kids who gets mad when he can't beat a level after he has tried a million times. This is an option, but you don't have to use it if you don't want to. I read this yesterday and I thought long and hard about Star Fox Zero having an invincibility mode. And I have to say, I think that I'm against it. And I'll explain why. When I was a kid, here we go. Yes, I know I'm giving a story, but it fits this perfectly. Games were hard as shit. It's that simple. They were hard as shit. Now, there's a valid argument that has been made before, and you guys are right, and I agree, that the reason that games were harder back in the 8-bit and 16-bit days of the NES and, the Master System and Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo, is due to the limited technology, games were much shorter. So the developer had to cram more gameplay into much shorter games, and how they did that was by making them hard as shit, because if the game was easy, you'd beat it in an hour and you would be pissed off because games were even more expensive at times than $60 back then, so you would feel totally ripped off if you got through the game easily. But then I look at kids today playing, like, it's so funny, you watch the Fine Brothers, yes, I'm bringing up the Fine Brothers, where they have kids try whatever, whether it be Mega Man or whatever the platformer may be. I remember they had him playing Mike Tyson and they couldn't get past Glass Joe. Now, I've read rumors that they pay these kids to suck. I don't know if that's true, but if it is not true and those are the kids actually playing the games, they are fucking terrible at them. And I was playing those games younger than the kids that they have playing them on the Fine Brothers videos. And I will say I have had kids today, personally, that I know try the old school games and they suck at them. They're terrible at them. They're inexcusably terrible at them. They're younger than me, and they're not young kids where they're like 4 or 5. They're kids that are 10, 11, 12 years old. I've seen them try these games and they suck at them. They should have super fast reflexes, faster than mine, because when you're in your late 20s and older, your reflexes start to slow down. They should have faster reflexes. They should be better than me, and they're getting their asses handed to me on levels that back when I was a kid, and even now when I play games like Super Mario Brothers, I could breeze through, and these kids are fucking terrible. Now, I will admit, and yes, it will sound like I'm contradicting myself, that especially when I'm getting footage for Review Tech USA, I play games on easy mode so I could get more footage in a much more efficient fashion. So I'm not against easy modes, don't get me wrong. Now, granted, right here I'm playing Super Hot, and Super Hot doesn't, as far as I know, have an easy mode, and I got my ass handed to me a million times. Great game, by the way. I don't think it's worth the price tag, way too short, but still a great game. But I'm getting off topic here. So anyway, it's not that I'm against easy modes, but my problem with games today is that they don't want to give consequences. Now, I understand on the flip side, again, I know I'm all over the place, that if a game like as big as Fallout 4, all right, didn't, say, for example, Fallout 4 had no checkpoints, no saves, you had 3 lives, and a game as big as Fallout, if you lost all 3 lives, you had to start all over from the beginning. There's no way that could be today. Okay, it was much different back in the day. The games were much shorter, and that's why that format existed, because they wanted, again, smaller games. They wanted you to feel like you got your dollar's worth out of them. Now games are too big. There's no way they could just kill you off and make you start all over. People would lose their damn minds. But with modes like the Invincibility mode, and this is the problem with it, is that it doesn't teach kids consequence. Yes, I know it's video games, and video games in general shouldn't be teaching your kids shit. I understand it's just a form of entertainment. But I feel like I watch kids today, personally, not on videos, not on the Fine Brothers or anything, and they just expect the games, in most cases, to hold their hands. They expect the games to, just lay out the red fucking carpet for them and let them get through it. There's no consequence whatsoever, and they just expect not to lose. And it's amazing taking those kids, which I have done, and making them play those old games, and they lose their minds. And I don't want to die. That's not fair. It's not fair. How many times have I'm not going to name any names, I've seen a particular young person play a game called Super Mario 3D World for the Wii U, and they die, and that's not fair. Why am I dying? I'm not supposed to die. It's your fault. And I'm just like, that's what it is. That's part of the challenge. If the game is easy, you might as well watch a movie. What the hell's the point? And I think, that's part of the problem, is that we're too afraid now to teach kids consequence. Everything's easy. You're entitled to everything. You're entitled to beating the game. Here's an invincibility mode. You could just breeze through Star Fox with no consequence, and it's not how video games should work. The challenge is what makes them fun, and it's definitely not how the real world works. So in the end, I'm against invincibility modes. It shouldn't even be an option. Make an easy option, that's fine. But at least there's still consequences with an easy option. If you take away all the consequence, what's the point of video games? And kids won't learn that there is consequences in video games and consequences in the real world. This is Rich of Review Tech USA signing out. Have a good one.